Give it the cool jazz, relaxed talk where you get the vocal fry through your voice like this.
Is he rapping?
Yeah.
All right, episode 40. Yeah, hit record. Christ.
Amateur.
You know what? Episode 45. Don't forget to check us out on 3starrecruits.com. Go check out the other podcast, DFS Units. Big spike today.
Oh, yeah?
This week, huge. Huge spike in the stats. It's doing well. 2-0 in college basketball tonight.
I'm 3-0 right now.
Yeah.
Not in college basketball.
But
Well,
kick it in the dick. So, Stat Boy's been a little rusty lately, guys. Almost like he's out of practice.
Rusty or inactive?
Like, just not on top of his game.
Okay.
So, I got thinking about it.
Which game?
Well, we're going to play a game. Since you were MIA for, we brought on a sponsor in Mooney's.
Yes.
We did a
I'm aware.
macaroni and cheese review. Were you aware of this?
Yeah.
Okay.
I watched it.
We also had played a game between ourselves that you conveniently missed out on.
He just happened to be in Florida.
You mean the jelly bean game?
Yeah.
I watched that too.
I think you should have to eat a couple jelly beans.
Ooh, that's a good point.
Okay.
I support this decision.
Nice.
So over there on
favor.
that table right there is a purple canister. Yep.
Behind the fan.
Behind the fan.
You colorblind?
Yep. And grab me the box so I know what you potentially could be eating. Just one of the boxes. Preferably the one that's open. That works.
And why don't you
Sorry, just hand it to me.
switch seats with Adam real quick? So you're on camera for this.
Yeah. I
Take
don't have a bag, so
Take
just,
the old lipper out and bring your aluminum foil shirt on over here.
you're gonna
I look like a leftover burrito.
you're gonna leftover burrito. You're gonna need something to spit in.
What do you mean?
Oh,
They cannot be that brutally bad.
Like an extra cup.
All right.
Or something. All right.
He's out of principle. He's gonna eat them all now.
All right.
so how many do you think we ate? 5?
We did.
Yeah.
So I think he eats 5.
All right.
All right.
5? All right.
So here's the rule. Yeah, you're right. Open.
Yep.
No,
You do what you did there.
Make Russ open it. Yeah.
No,
Childproof.
pull the.
no. You just pull it up and slide it back down.
Ah, interesting.
Okay.
Fancy shit.
So here's your choices. You can pick one of those and flick the other one back in, and then redraw, or
Touch
you
them both first, right?
just
Okay. This one looks like it might have a chance at being buttered popcorn or something. So
let me
I want
see
this
it.
one.
Is it the butter? It could
It's
be
like an
either-
off-white.
It's butter popcorn or a rotten egg.
This one could be marshmallow.
Either way, you're eating 5 of them.
All right. How about you're eating both of those?
Yeah,
So you
I
don't
want
have to
the butter
decide.
popcorn.
Yeah,
both.
you have to worry about it. Butter popcorn or rotten egg.
Winner.
Butter popcorn.
The butter popcorn wasn't.
It's
'cause I
still
got
not
one.
great.
It's still
though.
not good though.
All right, what else we got? Let me know when you're ready. Don't rush through this. This is enjoyable.
Russ probably wants more
All right.
dish soap.
Is that
Marshmallow, I would assume it's just clear or straight up white.
It might be coconut.
It's just white.
Mm-hmm.
It's either spoiled milk or coconut.
So there's no winning here for me.
You don't like coconut?
Not at all.
Give it a spin. I hope it's spoiled milk.
He probably doesn't know what coconut tastes like. So
That's a spoiled milk face.
You don't have to swallow it.
I know, but it's all in my teeth at this point. I don't even know what to do with it.
Spoiled milk?
I'm less concerned with the taste and more that I can smell my breath already. Give me my tea.
What was it?
Oh, what do you think it was?
I don't know.
Spoiled milk.
You
My
didn't like
goodness.
coconut.
It tastes like
yeah.
college all over again.
Jesus.
nothing worse than dumping out your milk and it's got chunks in it.
Oh.
All right, 3 more. Lift it up.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah, I like this one.
You say ew.
This one looks like some sort of dragon's egg. I don't know.
So I think you shouldn't eat that one. The other one. Eat the one you had your hands on. The other one you've already had. That's either buttered popcorn. Okay. So that one I think that's dead fish or strawberry banana smoothie.
He's probably had.
I think.
He's probably had dead fish though.
Or no.
Yeah, you act like I'm not going to enjoy that.
Okay, hold on. That actually might be barf or peach.
Okay.
I think it's barf or peach.
The barf is not good, just so you know.
Peach.
Oh,
Damn it.
Anticlimactic. I'm sorry.
lift that up. Flick that bean off there. We're going to get you a new jelly bean.
He's a pro. Flick the bean.
All right.
Green. That's not promising, and not Hulk green. Like
So you've had
sick
3
green.
right now, right? All right. So that's either juicy pear or booger. What's the other one?
Right at home for me.
He's still young. He still eats his boogers.
Give it a spin. He's only had 1 bad jelly bean so far.
Oh, he's
He
only
would-
eaten one though. So
He's
we got
spoiled
4
milk,
more.
and that's all I can smell right now.
He would have won the gift card.
Tasty.
So we don't know what it is because you like boogers.
It's not boogers.
So it's juicy pear. Do you want to? You know what that one's going to be, so you don't want
We're
to.
gonna put that guy back in there.
Yeah. All right. Last one.
How do they make the bean taste juicy instead of just pear? It's juicy pear.
Yeah.
Xanthan, right? No, xylitol. Sorry.
That was a very rhetorical question.
Oh, sorry.
But okay.
Okay.
I want the brown looking one.
All right. Well, that's
Sound-
it's either canned dog food or chocolate pudding, and the other one is. Let me see the other one. I don't know what that one is. That's
doing both.
Oh, yeah. Mix them. Mix them.
what's that
Is
other
there a
one?
birthday cake one?
Yeah, birthday cake
I think it's-
dishwater.
I think it's that one.
Oh, yeah. Russ has had a couple
So
of
I
those.
had
He
that
knows what
twice.
that
What
one
was
looks
the
like.
brown one again?
Canned dog food or chocolate pudding.
That's not good. It can't be chocolate pudding.
Tastes like Purina. Kibbles and bits.
Doesn't hardly taste like anything, honestly. I'm underwhelmed at best.
Damn.
Yeah, COVID.
I mean, I taste something, but not dog food. All right, so I'm hoping for dishwater because I'm always looking at it going, why am I pouring all these leftovers down the
Are
drain?
you going into overtime on your own?
Yeah.
All right. Birthday cake.
See, if you were here, you would have had.
No, he's just enjoying them at
you
this
would
point.
have. You would have.
Free jelly beans.
You would have.
We ate all the bad ones. He's just got a bunch of good tasting stuff here.
Yeah, dishwater.
Russ likes that one.
I do not like that one, but I did have it twice during the game.
Russ.
Tastes like hand sweat. It tastes like the inside of O.J. Simpson's glove.
Oh boy,
Russ got barf once.
I did.
That's what that rotten milk tastes like now.
He just sniffed.
He's like, oh, me.
All right. I feel like you've fulfilled your punishment.
Good, I'm glad.
Goodness.
All right, I guess we can get on with the show then.
Yeah, it was just convenient. He wasn't here that week.
Right. So we'll get into football. We'll get into playoff football. So do you guys want to do? I'm going to start out with just with our picks from last week and redo this week. Okay. So before we get into like playoff talk, everybody knows who won at this point. So we will get into our picks and how we did last week. So I believe we have a tie in first place. Adam and Russ have 3 each. Adam, you got all 3 games on Sunday.
Saturday was not a good day for me.
I got Russ had the Bucks -7 and the Saints and Browns.
I'm in 3 of these pools. I didn't get anything right Saturday. All 3 pools.
So Russ, you guys have 3 points, and you and I are tied at 2 points. You had a good Saturday. You had Rams and the Bucks.
Yeah, see, I paid attention on Saturday, and then I was like, I'll get another one at least on Sunday. Didn't really pay attention. Then I looked at it the
You
day
got
after and went, what the
skunked.
hell happened?
Yeah, I got skunked on Saturday.
Well, 2 of the games pushed. Oh, no, sorry. We had over-unders, too, on my other ones. That's why I was.
Yeah, wrong pool.
Yep.
Either way, we are you two are at 3 points, and T-Dub and I are at 2 points. Head into the final 4. All right, let's get into this week's picks. If you've had a chance, I can kick it off if you guys are not ready.
I'm ready, but you can kick it off.
All right. So first game, Packers +6.5. Actually, Adam, you kick it off. You ran this last week. So.
All right. First game, Rams at Packers in Lambeau. Supposed to be quite chilly. Rams Packers -6.5.
That's your pick,
I got Packers.
Packers.
I am taking Aaron Donald against David Bakhtiari's backup. I think this will be closer than people expect. I'm going to take the Rams and the points.
I like that matchup you did there.
This one because we have it at 6.5, I went Packers. But if it was 7 or above, which I've seen it at, I would definitely go Rams.
I'm going Packers minus 6.5. Donald is playing. That is confirmed now, even though he did sit out practice this week. We do not know. Cooper Kupp is questionable right now.
He'll play.
And then Wolford, is that his name? We don't know who's starting quarterback this week.
Goff's got. Is Wolford like okay?
That's what I said, but apparently it's like, well, we don't know who's starting this week.
Unless Goff's thumb got worse, I'd be surprised if he didn't start.
So I'm still taking Packers minus 6.5. Jared Goff in games of 30 degrees or lower, he's 0-4 in his career with 0 touchdowns and a 34 QBR. And I can't imagine cold weather is good for a thumb that's 2 weeks off surgery.
Obviously, the big thing, as Russ mentioned, is the Rams defense.
Yep. Packers minus 6.5.
I too have Packers minus 6.5. I mean, there's just too much going on. I'm just going to yield to you guys as the experts. If you guys see what's going on, I'm just going to assume you're right because there's so much stuff going on behind the action right now that it's hard to be involved with all of it. And I'll take your word.
All right.
Next game, Saturday night, Ravens, Bills minus 2.5. I am taking the Bills.
Yeah, Bills.
Taking Bills minus 2.5. Both teams this year 11-6 against the spread. Lamar has never played in the snow. I don't know if you guys heard that this week.
Although that could hurt the Bills too because obviously they run the ball no matter what. But if they get up, they're going to have to throw it, and obviously that's not good for him.
Yeah, but Josh is used to throwing in cold weather. He played in Wyoming,
right?
too.
But I'm saying for Lamar, it's if they can run, if Baltimore can stay close and just run the ball, it's going to be a really good game.
I worry about the run, but
Is there a snowstorm coming?
Yeah,
possibly, yeah.
Last I heard was 50%, which is up from 40% yesterday. So
I do worry about the run, but last year they did a very good job. Lamar only threw for 145 yards and ran for 40, even though the Bills lost. Lamar has thrown for 2,757 yards this year. Josh Allen has thrown for 4,544. And the reason I mention this is because Wilbon on ESPN earlier this week said, well, both guys are more inclined to run than throw. Although Josh has played one less game in his career than Lamar Jackson, has 9,707 yards. Lamar has 7,085 yards. That's almost an entire season for Lamar Jackson in difference. I like Josh Allen. I like the Bills here. Ravens 3-3 against teams with a winning record this season. They had to win their last 5 games to get into the playoffs. Those last 5 games: Dallas, Cleveland, Jacksonville, Giants, and Cincinnati. The only team with a winning record there is Cleveland. I like the Bills minus 2.5.
These two teams are probably the hottest in football.
Yep.
So
I have nothing to argue against that. I 100% agree. Bills minus 2.5. Pretty cut and dry on that one, I think.
Yeah. Oh, it might be biased on our end too, but
Yeah.
first game Sunday, Browns plus 10 against the Chiefs. I'm taking Browns. I think I'm hoping backdoor cover. That's all I've got.
It's just
I don't think it's going to be close, but I'm just hoping they backdoor cover it.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I think the Chiefs win the game, but the Browns just dropped 48 points on the Steelers, so they've shown they can put up some offense. So because the spread's so big, I'm going to take the Browns and the points.
Do you want to throw your pick out there before I hit it?
Yeah, I was gonna take the Chiefs. I don't have a ton of logic behind that other than like Russ is saying that he's basing that a little bit on the Steelers game, and I think when the wheels come off the way they did, it's kind of hard to use that as merit for betting the next week.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it is predicting what's going to happen a little bit, but that was the wheels coming off the wagon there. That wasn't something big as far as the franchise itself, I don't think. So Chiefs for me.
Yeah, Kyle might hit that, I don't know, but I think the key to this game is the Chiefs running game.
Which is up in the air. Edwards-Helaire returned to practice this week, but we don't know for sure how much he's going to play or if he's going to play. Returning to practice on Wednesday doesn't mean you can play on Sunday, especially with that injury.
And they say, obviously, in the playoffs, you have to have a running game. When I look at these 8 teams, 2 of them have running games.
Yep.
So
my pick is also the Browns plus 10. There's been 27 games this season in the NFL where there has been a double-digit favorite. Chiefs are 1-4 against the spread as a double-digit favorite. They're 7-9 in the season against the spread. And at the halfway point, the Chiefs weeks 9 through 17. Went 1-8 against the spread to finish the season. And I think we're, as Adam pointed out, the running situation in Kansas City, I think we'd get 2-0 down to Mahomes. Mahomes is a great football player. There's no disputing that at all. But I think what we're not paying attention to is they only put up 17 points against the Falcons and barely won because they didn't have a running back. And then they got swept under the rug because at that point they're already in the playoffs. And then they sat everybody in week 17, lost, but nobody cared because no one played.
Right.
So I'm taking the Browns plus 10.
And then our final game Sunday is Bucks Saints. Saints are -3 favorites. Brady's too locked in for me. I'm taking the Bucks +3.
Yeah, I think this game's a coin flip anyways, so I will take the points and the Bucks.
And the Saints already beat them twice this year. Hard to beat a team 3 times.
I'm going Saints -3. I think to get it done, I think they beat them for the third time. Buccaneers 0-5 against the spread the last 5 meetings, 1-5 the last 5 games, or like 6 games against the spread in New Orleans. And these two teams matching up, the favorite is 4-1 the last 5 against the spread.
I have the Bucks. It's Tom Brady in the playoffs.
I'm also secretly hoping for a Bills-Bucks championship.
That would be amazing.
Super Bowl. But
So there's the picks. Hopefully we do better this week than last week.
I don't know.
50% was pretty good last week, I thought.
I would say I'm tied for first, so I'm okay with it.
Taylor, I hope we do better this week.
Me too, buddy. Good
All right,
luck.
thank you. All right, so let's talk about the games last week. What do you guys think of the games?
Boring. Bills Colts game was good. Every other game was just kind of, it was there.
I mean, the Bears game was exciting if you watched it on Nickelodeon, right?
Hey, I watched all 60 minutes on Nickelodeon.
Did you really?
Oh, yeah. Number 1 star this week, Lex Lumpkin.
Oh, my. The kid's like 14.
Yeah, he's a beast.
He's like a 14-year-old kid.
Sideline reporter for Nickelodeon.
Yeah, we didn't hang out at Nickelodeon very long. We turned around, we're like,
I was okay with that.
yeah, we're like, yeah.
Oh, it
let's
was
go back
definitely
to
worth it.
CBS.
For how boring the game was, Nickelodeon made it better.
So you're saying the
googly
commentating
eyes
was good?
So who?
Yeah, Lex Lumpkin.
Lex Washington, what he do? Win like a contest or something? Or?
No, he's like a childhood actor. He's on All That and some other show on Nickelodeon.
Okay. Well, that's what I was asking.
Yeah.
He's not a sideline reporter prior to this.
This week he was.
Well, I know.
Like McAfee said.
He was on McAfee Monday.
Yeah, he was. He was on McAfee, but McAfee's like, I had no idea some of the references. If they would have said, hey, we need to kick it down to Mo, I would have known what they were talking about.
They Nickelodeon googly eyes when they show players on the sideline. SpongeBob in between the field goal posts. Young Sheldon popping up telling people what the penalty was.
Yeah,
Which
slime
was a little
when they win the end zone.
Yeah, slime when you get in the end zone.
Which, Sean Payton, you're on my shit list.
He
Got legitimately slimed,
but
like real slimed. He was wearing his Jordan 11s.
he kept him on.
He's probably got 5 other pair of them.
It's kind of a disrespect to the brand, though.
And even better was they gave out a Nickelodeon valuable player. Nick Trubisky won it.
Oh, the MVP, yeah.
Nick Trubisky.
Oh, sorry.
We're on a roll here.
He walked in here drunk
I
tonight.
know. I didn't remember what he said.
Neither, because we don't know.
Rocket something.
Yeah, rock. Hey,
He
baby.
turned hockey into rocket
Yeah.
something. Right,
He was like, it's like he just left the audition for like Joe Dirt too. Homeless, why you make
Swamp
it?
people.
Yeah, you like to see homeless naked. I get it.
He bought a 12-pack of Molson. That's the last one left. Drank the other 11 on the way over.
It's a 4-minute ride.
A couple of minutes.
I thought you say the games were boring, but I thought there were a couple storylines that made them exciting because the forgetting his name, but the kid that started for Washington at quarterback,
Heineke.
Taylor Heineke. That was a cool story seeing him step in there. And I thought he played really well, and I thought that alone kind of made that game exciting to watch.
Yeah.
I didn't watch much of the Rams Seahawks.
That game was
Not a whole lot, other than Wolford getting absolutely demolished. Hopefully he is okay with his neck. That looked ugly.
Yeah.
I haven't heard an update on him.
No.
Look that up, Stat Boy.
Rams quarterback.
Oh, come on. Stat Boy doesn't even have his
I
phone
was
out
ready
yet.
to interject, actually, but all right.
Oh, go ahead and
What do you
interject.
got?
Multitask here.
No. I was gonna.
He did say
I was
last
gonna move
Saturday.
along the. I was gonna move along the conversation. So no worries about that.
Gotta remind myself the other games. Titan Ravens. That kind of was a boring game in my eyes.
It was all right. It was.
I'll give you that one.
It was
boring.
10-0. They brought it back, but yeah, then they ended up not being a game.
Yeah, it wasn't. That's how the Seahawks Rams game Rams kind of I think they scored first and kind of held control, and then the the Seahawks just couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
I don't know what Wilson had, like 170 yards passing. Like, he didn't do much.
You're looking for a status update.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, injury report.
John, I think, is it John
I think
Wolford?
it was John
Wolford, yeah.
So he got.
Last I knew he went to the friggin' hospital.
Yeah,
He looked like he had his neck compressed on a big hit, and they didn't really give an update. He was taken out in an ambulance. Did you have any conversations Sunday night with your father-in-law?
Oh,
I did not, but
your Steelers fan.
Yeah.
Father-in-law?
I have some thoughts on the Steelers.
Dude.
First of all, Russ had the best comment of the weekend. He rolls in here.
That was a major transition too.
Yeah.
We weren't talking about it.
We weren't talking about anything. Then he walks in the house Sunday, sits down next to my father-in-law, who's got his Steelers jersey on. He didn't watch the game here.
Okay.
He's got his jersey on.
It's probably better that he didn't.
And Russ sits down and said, "So, they gonna let Roethlisberger out of the nursing home for the night to play?"
He brushed it off like, yeah, he'll be ready. Don't worry. And then
That's the story we get though, like from
Yikes.
Steelers fans, and I'm like, we talked about this last week with the Steelers, and you got an update over there for us?
All that I can find on John Wolford is that he's not practicing, and Jared Goff is practicing in full
Yeah.
gear.
It's gotta be Goff.
Yeah.
At this point in the week, you have
Yeah, I
that.
didn't think Wolford did even practice, but.
So I've heard a lot of that from Steelers fans. They have this arrogance about them in the sense of like, oh, Ben's just gonna be, he's got found a fountain of youth or some shit. It's not the case. Roethlisberger turned the ball over 4 times Sunday. He's done, and I'll tell you why he's done. They have 18 free agents on that team. If they go into next season right now, what they have without signing free agents, they're $31 million over the projected cap. He's owed $41 million. So you're going to turn around and pay your free agents like Juju, who's a moron, and Claypool, we'll get into that. You're going to turn around and pay them, or you're going to give Roethlisberger $41 million to, run it back.
Right, but, Claypool's not due money.
No, I'm not saying Claypool is, but I'm saying you have 18 free agents. Why are you going to turn around and spend $41 million and you're that far over the cap on a 40-year-old quarterback?
I'd be curious. I don't know. Actually, I have the app on my phone. I'll look up what we're talking, but I'd be curious who those free agents are. And
Juju's one of them.
Well, right, but the other guys, Juju won't be back, I don't think. Be curious how much money they could free up, how much guys that really aren't playing or
they got young guys
because a lot of their team is older.
I think Fitzpatrick, the defensive
Minka,
back?
yeah,
I think he's one of them.
Yeah, because he got traded last year. And I think his contract was coming up. But yeah, and Roethlisberger put it back on them, right? He said, if the Steelers want me back, I'll play.
I think they forced him into retirement and kind of give him a backdoor package and say, hey, thanks. You're forever a Steeler.
Yeah, his demeanor after the game, he shed some tears on the sideline, stayed on the bench for a while, and I don't blame the guy. He's had a hell of a career.
Yeah.
His demeanor after the game to me looked like a guy that knew he was done.
Yeah.
And
so because there was no fans and that financial impact on the NFL teams this year, salary cap's going to drop, and that puts the Steelers at like $31 million over next year. And you got to pay your free agents if you're going to keep them, or anybody you're going to bring in. You got to fill those roster spots and pay somebody. So you can't really pay him $41 million when you're that far over the cap.
Yeah. The NFL always has some goofy contract stuff. So where does the 41 come from? Why is that already a determined number?
That's what he's owed next year.
Yeah. Just
he's under contract for 41 next year?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I thought you were saying he was a free agent, and the
No.
number was somehow 41.
He's owed 41 next year. He must have back-ended his contract somehow where he got more in the later years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just trying to look at guys here. I can't. The app on my phone, I can't see it as well as on a computer. But on Spot Track, I always look at the contracts and who's a free agent. But they don't have a ton of guys with big contracts. I think there was only like 6 guys over like $10 million.
Which makes it worse because you're already $31 million over.
Yeah. But yeah, obviously Roethlisberger is a big decision for them. Just even getting to that game or getting back to it, I guess I want to go back to the Ravens-Titans because same thing happened. Decision-making from Tomlin and Mike Vrabel. Tomlin punted
on 4th and 2.
Like 4th and 2 when you're down. I don't know what they're down, like 20 at the time. Now, obviously, they were playing well at the time because that was the third quarter or maybe beginning of the fourth. But you're playing well. Why not go for it? You're down 20.
And you have Derrick Henry.
No. I'm Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh first.
Oh, Pittsburgh. Okay.
Yeah, they punted as well. But Vrabel did the same thing, right? Yeah, it was like 4th and 2, 4th and 1.
They call
And
it,
they
they say it's the analytics or whatever.
Yeah, they punted from the 40. I think the Ravens 40 because they punted the end zone. It was like a net 15 punt. And it was the fourth quarter at that point. And it's like, what are you doing? And Vrabel's always said, I'm going to be aggressive. Well, it's win or go home. And you chickened out.
Yeah. Yeah, there were some definitely poor coaching decisions, but I think in terms of Pittsburgh, you got to be realistic. We talked about it during the draft last year. We're like, Pittsburgh needs a quarterback because they were without Ben. We saw how bad they looked without him. You didn't anticipate they're going to move forward with those guys as a future. There was guys on the board for Pittsburgh they could have 100% drafted and looked to their future, but they just have this like arrogance, like, no, we got Ben, we're good.
And I don't know if they can restructure his contract at all. Like, hey, we'll give you $20 million. Obviously, freeing up $20 million is a lot. And like you said, they're already over capped by
$31 million.
Is that what they're? Okay, because I just looked at it. It said going into next year they're under capped by like $10 million.
Over $31 million. So the salary cap's going to change because it's based off financials. For the season, it's going to drop.
Even if they could restructure, because there's no chance that if they let go of him, no team's gonna. If a team picks him up to be a backup, he's not going to start in the league. Someone picks him up to be a backup, he's not going to make more than $8 million. So if Pittsburgh says, "Hey, can we restructure your contract of $15 to $20 million next year?" He's not going to say no. I don't think. Say, "Hey, you're going to start."
If I'm Ben, offer me a package. I'm out. Somehow give me my money or most of it, and you know what I mean. I retire as a Steeler. I'm going to be in the Hall of Fame. I'm forever a Steeler. I'll be a legend in this damn town. Like, what else? What? He has nothing left to prove. Nothing.
If they signed him, if he still is under contract, owed $41 million next year, if the Steelers have the option of restructuring that, then that makes the salary cap irrelevant.
Because you can just work right around it.
If you can just work around it and say, hey, we no longer want to pay this guy this money, we'll restructure it to pay him 15.
Which is what Patriots said with Brady.
You can 100% do, yeah.
You could do what the Yankees did, wasn't it?
Then there's
Alice
no
Berry
point
or whatever, $1 million for they're still paying
no,
that
it
guy.
was Bobby Bonilla.
Or Bobby Bonilla.
Yeah.
Then there's no point in having a salary cap in the league.
Right. No, they'd have to restructure because they're so far over.
Yeah, that situation doesn't make any sense to me.
So
I understand they're over, but if you're over, you have to trade guys or buy them out. You can't just say, hey, we're over. We're going to change your contract so we're not over.
It just becomes an accounting game at that point.
Yeah, that makes the salary cap a joke.
So I'm looking at the money for the Steelers right now. Big Ben, his cap hit is $41 million. He is not making $41 million next year.
Right, his cap hit.
Yeah. His base salary is $4 million, and he has a $12.5 million signing bonus, and then a $15 million roster bonus.
If he's on the roster.
Right. So, I mean, he's still going to get $16 million,
so
even if they let him go.
So, yeah, I'd walk out.
So
that's what I would do. It's not like the guy's full of injuries.
There's no other team that would pick him up and absorb a $41 million cap hit.
Well, if Pittsburgh released him, he wouldn't
get the 15.
He wouldn't get the 15 that Pittsburgh gave him with a roster bonus.
What's the other bonus?
Okay.
What's the other bonus?
So that bumps it down to
just
26.
A signing bonus. And it probably has to. So they probably got to re-sign it to. Yeah, so it'd be 26. Let there be light.
Oh, that was weird.
Yeah.
So why would any team pick him up at 26 to be a backup?
That's what I don't understand. I don't know what all the leagues are different. I don't know if Pittsburgh released him. I don't think he would be due that money at all. I think it would be if they released him, he would get the money from Pittsburgh because there was similar to Le'Veon Bell, right?
If he gets released and someone signs him,
they just have to pay the difference of whatever the new contract.
So if someone signs, basically, if Ben got released and someone else picked him up, they owe the Steelers basically the other team how that financially works. So if they say, all right, we're going to pay him $600,000, they owe the Steelers a difference,
right?
Because he's guaranteed that money.
And then there's no cap hit. I'm talking cap hit. Why would a team pick him up and
there
put
would be a
20
cap hit for salary.
There'd be dead money, whatever the dead money number is.
This cap is stupid. That doesn't make any sense.
It's a large cap.
Steelers have
If your contract has a $26 million cap hit, I don't care what team you're playing for, somebody should have that $26 million cap hit against their cap.
Right.
So why would someone pick him up?
So you're saying if someone picked him up, they should have the same cap hit, the $41 million. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah.
And I think
Your cap hit just doesn't go bye-bye because you
But
signed with a different team.
But I think part of that, maybe the way, I don't know, I'd have to dig deep into it, but what he's reading is that $15 million would be if he makes the Steelers roster. So I think if he gets released, he doesn't get that, I'm assuming.
That's why I was saying 26. But so, okay. Say he gets released and the Jets sign him. Do the Jets have a $26 million cap hit now because of Roethlisberger?
I don't think so.
It would be whatever. So they would have to, they work out a contract of, whatever they're going to pay him. So say his contract was whatever, $26 million. They sign him for $10 million. They pay him $10 million, but then they have to pay
No, they pay him $8 million. Steelers pay him the other $2 million, and they pay back the Steelers the $2 million.
I don't know.
It's a shit show.
I don't think we should. I don't even know where you just came up with 8 if they signed him for 10.
Because he's owed $2 million next year, right?
No.
Didn't you say his salary is $2 million?
16.5.
That's with the bonus, though, right? What's his base salary?
4.
Okay, so it's $4 million. So someone signs him for 10.
Well, that's if they release him before the.
We're talking if someone else releases him. He's owed
but
$4 million.
if they don't release him before the deadline, he's owed that signing bonus.
Right. I'm talking just in general. If he gets released and someone else signs him,
Sorry.
I'm trying to read.
if someone
up here.
signs him for 10, he's still owed a guaranteed of 4 from Pittsburgh because that's under his contract. So if someone signs him for 10, he gets a 10 from the new team, and that team has to pay back Pittsburgh $4 million. They pay the difference because Pittsburgh's going to pay Ben, and then this team that signs him pays back Pittsburgh.
And then he magically has no salary cap hit.
He would on the other team for their salary.
Yeah, it's
funky because they went through with Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah, signing bonuses in the NFL are fully guaranteed. I don't know. It just says it's a sunk cost.
Okay.
That my guess is that signing bonus is still going to get paid next year because
they're guaranteed.
It's guaranteed, yes.
Right. And they probably split up a signing bonus over multiple years is my guess.
Yeah, you got one last year, $5 million.
So he probably has to split up. Well, let's move on.
We'll talk about this later.
We're not
that
accountants.
makes the salary cap a joke, in my opinion. It's stupid.
What did you guys think of Marcus Peters
Marcus
going to the logo after the interception?
didn't really care.
I
get why they did it. I just didn't really care.
I liked it.
And I know why he did it, but
The Titans did them earlier in the year,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's just
whatever.
it's the competitiveness of the NFL. I think people are making a bigger deal of it than it is. It's trash talking. It's not like Marcus Peters doesn't stop talking on the field. I don't think so.
see, that's how you trash talk. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
You wait. You don't run your mouth. You win, and you do that.
Oh, he probably ran his mouth the entire game though.
But that's not my point. It's like that's when you make it known. You don't do what Juju's been doing and come out in an interview and be like, yeah, the Browns is the Browns. Which was weird. Before that game happened, I saw the quote and I screenshot it. I'm like, this could come back and bite Juju. So I'm going to go ahead and screenshot that. So there it is. Did you see this quote when he did the interview?
Not recalling if I did.
He said, I think they're still the same Browns I see every year. They're nameless gray faces. They have a couple good players on their team, but at the end of the day, the Browns is the Browns.
Yeah.
Somewhat backfired on him.
Yeah. That's a guy that needs to learn to shut his mouth and concentrate on football a little more.
And then Chase Claypool on Monday was doing a Instagram live. Was that what it was? TikTok live? Does TikTok have live you too? I don't have TikTok.
I don't use
I
that.
think they do have live, but
He was on there, and people were making comments, and he made a comment like, yeah, it was a tough loss, but they're going to get clapped next week by the Chiefs, so it's cool. It's like, dude,
Yeah.
you sound like a baby.
You just got clapped by Cleveland, so
Yeah.
shut your mouth.
Exactly. Those are two kids that need to be pulled aside by Tomlin, who
Yes.
a lot of people are saying the culture of what used to be Pittsburgh has kind of gone away. He needs to pull those two aside and be like, you guys need to shut up.
so I never thought about it, and I don't know if you watched McAfee on Monday. You got a kid on there who's a big Steelers fan. He
The COVID cowboy.
yeah, COVID Cowboy. He he said, what are they going to do? He said, well, they won't get rid of Tomlin. They're just going to fire their coordinators like they always do. Blame it on the coordinators and just bring new ones in. Mm-hmm. And I didn't think about it, but think about it. In my lifetime, they've had Cowher and Tomlin.
Yeah.
There's never, there's no one else. And so that's probably what they do. When something goes wrong, it's, get rid of the coordinators and then we'll just bring new ones in.
Yep.
I mean, my opinion, Tomlin's not the issue there.
I don't think he is either.
Yeah.
No, he's not.
And they've obviously made the playoffs, I don't know what, probably 4 or 5 straight years. So
yeah. I think they need to do some, I don't know if a total rebuild's the word for it, but they got to start looking to the future. They got to rebuild something.
I think they're close to a total rebuild, though.
They're closer than they're not.
Yeah, obviously, Big Ben's done. They don't have a backup. Juju's leaving.
Where's he going to go?
Yeah, you're assuming Juju's leaving. We don't know that.
I'm going to make a bold Indianapolis. I don't know why.
Indy?
I pulled that out of my rear end, but
he's going to go there for $12 million with a $20 million cap hit.
So speaking of wide receivers, we watched. We'll talk about the national championship game, but Devontae Smith had a hell of a game.
Yeah,
and he played half of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So then, of course, the conversation on Tuesday was should the Jets draft this guy? And I'm like, no.
Why not?
Why would they?
Because you have a okay quarterback, someone you can build around.
Okay.
I absolutely take Devontae Smith.
I wouldn't.
What are you taking?
Probably offensive line, so Darnold's get killed.
But there is so much more value later in the draft at offensive lineman than at a stud receiver.
You can make that same argument for receivers.
Not always.
Really? Tyreek Hill's a 5th rounder. Michael Thomas, 2nd rounder. Diggs, 5th rounder. Juju, 2nd rounder. Devontae Adams, 2nd rounder.
Right, but none of them were studs in. It's much easier to get a lineman later in the draft. Much easier.
Yeah, I mean, a fat guy's a fat guy, but
right. But if you put that list of stud linemen who are in the league, that list is going to be 3 pages long.
We're talking about receivers here.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Those are few and far between.
I disagree because you can find, and there's no guarantee Devontae Smith is going to be good in the NFL. The guy weighs 175 pounds.
Diggs weighs 180 pounds.
I just don't think he's tiny, dude. I think
he's the exact same size as Stephon Diggs.
I don't think he's a guarantee. I think he's a great player, but I wouldn't take him in the 3rd overall pick.
I would absolutely.
I wouldn't. They got too many other problems there. They're not even sure they're going to keep Darnold.
Well, right. That's their first. If they're keeping Darnold, you got to take Smith.
I don't think so.
He needs weapons, right?
They drafted a wide receiver last year,
and he played well when he was healthy this year.
Well, then you got a wide receiver. You got to protect Darnold. They don't have a running back.
No, they don't. But I don't know. There's much more value.
Wide receivers don't go quick in the draft normally.
Who? I don't know. I forget what the
Justin
draft order is.
Riggs went first last year, 12th to the Raiders. Justin Jefferson went 21st or something like that. There was like 3 wide receivers taken in the 1st round.
Right.
Ruggs was the other one, I think. Ruggs, Jefferson,
Ruggs,
and
Judy and Jefferson.
Judy. I just don't think he's worth a number 3 pick when you got other issues. A good quarterback can turn an average wide receiver into really good. Cole Beasley's having like a career year this year, and he played for what? Romo, Dak. He's probably having his best year in his career, in my opinion, playing in Buffalo for Josh. I just feel like quarterbacks can make wide receivers better. The difference between college and NFL is he's playing at Alabama where defense is a little different. And you're catching passes in college. The difference in the NFL and college is quarterbacks throw to receivers that are open, and that margin of error, of window of open, is very slim in the NFL. You got to throw your receiver open.
Yeah, but I think he's quick enough to get open.
He is quick enough. I just don't think he's worth the number 3 pick in the draft.
2. Devontae won't get by 3.
You don't think so?
No, because if Miami keeps Tua, they're going to take Devontae Smith. They already played together.
Yeah.
I could see Miami taking him if they decide to keep Tua.
Yeah, so
But there's no. I don't even think Tua is going to be there. There's rumors that Deshaun Watson's going to be in Miami.
If the order stays as is, he won't make it past 3.
I wouldn't take him. That's just my personal opinion.
And if not, he's probably not getting by 5 because the Bengals probably take him.
Well, the Bengals do need a receiver because AJ Green's washed up.
Well, yeah, they got Higgins last year. Now they can bring.
I just don't think the Jets need him. They drafted a wide receiver last year. Darnold to me is if you really think Darnold's that good, then you need to put things around Darnold like an offensive line so he's not getting murdered out there. Jets defense isn't that bad, and Darnold doesn't have a running back.
No, but you're not obviously taking a running back that early.
Why not? If you need one.
But who are you going to take?
I don't know, but they don't have one.
Right, but there's no running back. There's no running back that early in the draft this year.
Yeah.
No, probably not this year, but they need a running back. How do we know the Jets don't turn around and trade that damn pick? Because they've got some serious issues there.
The Jets need everything. I get your argument with receiver, but I would take Devontae Smith over Lyman. I agree that
I just wouldn't.
You have the depth of linemen later in the draft is far better than the true elite receiver. You also haven't had. I mean, you're naming last year's receivers. None of those guys were the first receiver to win the Heisman in almost 30 years.
No,
either.
I don't disagree with that. I just don't think. I just feel like the Jets have. They're saying the Jets are going to take him.
The Jets need literally everything.
Right.
And if this kid's this elite of a talent,
he's probably second best player on the board.
Well, I don't know if Darnold can get him the ball with the lineman he's got.
But they drafted 2 linemen last year who started. Another lineman who got drafted the year before. So they definitely got a young line. But I think you got to give them time. Be curious. Let there be no light.
I just wouldn't take him. That's just me. This is my opinion.
okay.
Yeah,
We hear you.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know where to go with this. This is different episode here tonight.
Devontae Smith is my second star of the week.
He's my first star of the week too.
Yeah, so he had 12 for 215 and 3 touchdowns.
I didn't list him because I figured everybody else had him.
In one half of the game.
Yeah, he and Ohio State. I guess we can talk about that a little bit. Ohio State pretty much didn't want to cover him. I don't know why.
Yeah, their defense in the secondary was a joke.
Yeah, at one point, and I give him credit. I don't know, it was his 3rd touchdown maybe. They had a linebacker running after him.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, he's not catching a guy who runs a 4.25.
So the Steelers didn't work for them either.
It's crazy. He just ran by, and the linebacker didn't give up.
Landry or whatever his name was.
Yeah.
And then we have the championship game was boring in my opinion. Like first half was all right, but Ohio State.
At least there was offense.
Dude, I'm so glad I stayed away from the over. Everyone was pumped about the over hitting, and it covered by half a point.
Well, it would have been a win.
I wouldn't have. I've been sweating that out until the very end.
I had a boost at 84.5, so obviously that didn't hit. But
84.5.
Yeah, there was a boost. It was like plus 450 at 84.5. They were 9 points away.
I mean, it was on pace.
It wasn't far away.
And then they pulled back a touchdown.
Yeah, but if Ohio State scores again, it probably hits.
Yeah, because they pulled back 1 touchdown from Ohio State. Doug Peterson got fired. We talked about Dougie last week, and Dougie boy. You and I talked about it, Sunday, Saturday, whatever day you were here. And I thought that what we found out with Doug getting fired is from watching that game week 17, we found out that Doug was the problem. We felt like that was a real issue there. And I think if I'm a GM and I got a quarterback I'm paying that much money to, coaches are cheaper than that quarterback you're paying $100-some million to. So I think that's probably what factored in the decision.
Yeah.
And then there were some other players that came out this week and were basically like talking about how he's still a problem, he's been a problem, and that.
I mean, they had too much of a headache brewing there to not get rid of him.
Yeah.
They weren't going to smooth that over with the players they already have.
And I think it exposed even more that Frank Reich was the reason those guys were successful that year.
Yeah.
Because he had Frank, calling the plays or whatever. But I think Wentz could stay now. They're thinking Wentz is going to stay because Peterson's gone. I don't know what conversations he had with leadership to say, well, if you get rid of him, I'll stay. But then you got a problem there because you got Hurts.
Well, right, but you might have to stay if they can't trade him.
Yeah.
Well, that's a big contract take on. I don't know if
right. That's what I'm saying.
We won't get into salary cap.
Yeah. I don't think that contract's very tradable.
I don't
the
think
guy
so
has
either.
looked absolutely horrible the last 2 years, and he's owed 30-some million for the next 3 or 4 years.
Was this his first year of that contract?
First or I think
It's gotta be.
second.
First
First
or
or
second.
second.
Yeah, because he hasn't been leading that long.
He's still got like at least 3 years of
On that
30,
contract.
35 million. So
Actually, next year might be the first year of the contract
Oh, really?
because he would have got a 5-year deal
Stat boy.
of where he was.
Yeah, look up that contract. I agree with you. I don't
Right?
think it's
Wasn't it
terrible.
the Super Bowl was his second year, right? That was 17.
he's going to look it up.
Yeah.
Either way, point being, he has sucked the last 2 years.
Yep.
I don't think anyone's going to take him on, assuming he's going to be their starter right away.
Right.
And if you think he needs to be in some sort of competition where he's potentially going to end up on your bench, you're not going to put him in that spot and pay him $35 million to be your backup.
Right. I don't think that contract's tradable either.
He's on a 4-year contract that starts. It's a 4-year contract. He becomes a free agent in 2025. So that means it started this season.
Yeah. So he's got
And
3
it's
years left. on him.
for
Makes it worse.
16 million signing bonus. Total guarantees 107.9 million. Guaranteed at signing 66.
That's almost fully guaranteed.
So based on what you've seen this season, I would not take on $107 million guaranteed dollars for Carson Wentz.
Not even close.
And I don't think there's many teams that are that desperate to automatically name him the starter
No.
over who they already have.
Yeah, because if you're going to trade for him, he's starting for you.
Yeah.
Oh, if you're going to pay him, you might as well. So I think it's why, like you said, he's got to stay.
Yeah.
But where does that leave Hurts? I mean, is he going to want out, or do they trade Hurts for picks? Who knows?
Justin Fields.
I don't think I haven't watched a ton of them. I think Hurts is the starter in Philly. I think Wentz has proven he is not the starter, and he's going to be on the bench, which paying him that money to be on the bench is not ideal, but
right.
if you're Philly, you're stuck with it.
Right.
At this point, you're paying them both. You're paying them anyways. You got to go with who's going to win, and I think Hurts proved this year that he's the better option.
Yeah. How about Jerry Jones saying, "Oh, he's got the bargaining leverage this year."
Well, he does.
He didn't the year before, and the year before that, when they franchise tag.
Not as much as now it looks.
It looks dumb for the Cowboys because if they franchise tag him, I think they said they got to pay him $38 million next year. I think it's a franchise tag for a quarterback.
Well, yeah, because Mahomes got paid.
So it's 30. Yeah, the average goes up, and $38 million they'd have to pay him, and he was looking for what 30,
40.
40? Was he looking for 40? I thought it was somewhere between 35 and 40.
Oh, yeah.
I guess you can argue both sides of that. Does he really have the leverage? Because you don't know how healthy he's going to come back.
Right.
Is he going to be the same player? To me, that question mark is big enough to move the leverage to the team's side.
That's the bet with him, right? Is if he comes back healthy, then he might be worth it. But if he's not healthy, if he can't come back, then
Jerry said the leverage is in Dak's field.
Because I think because the Cowboys look so bad this year.
Yeah. It's like 2 weeks ago he said that after they lost.
I think that his health question outweighs how bad they look.
Oh, I was shocked by it too because any injury like that for any player, I would think you wouldn't have the leverage. I'd be asking a question like on the other side table, like you just said, like, well, you said it's major injury. Why would I pay that kind of money? Are you a risk?
Right. Especially are they top 10 draft pick? They got to be.
No, they're probably maybe right around there. They're probably about 9, 10, 11, somewhere in there. So
yeah,
they could get a reasonable young quarterback in this draft if they wanted.
You think Fields goes high?
So I want to go back to that. So I looked up all of Alabama's because obviously their secondary was not very good this year. Alabama's defensive secondary.
What you got?
They're number 10 for their pick.
Well, give me that order real quick. Did you look up the whole order?
No, I looked Cowboy specific.
All
right. I looked up Alabama stat. Fields threw the 4th lowest total all year against Alabama.
Yards?
Yeah. Obviously, the week before, everybody's like, "Oh, look at him."
Yeah.
Against not a very good secondary for Alabama, who gave up a ton of yards. Of their 13 games, 6 times teams went over 300 passing. And Ohio State only had 341 total yards for the game.
Total, yeah.
Plays even. I wrote Alabama had 83 plays. Ohio State only had 62.
They looked terrible in the second half.
You thought maybe in the first half, hey, they might keep up, but then they moved the ball. They had 19 first downs, which seems like a lot, but it was almost half of what Alabama had.
Right.
But yeah, they just didn't. And I don't know if obviously Sermon got hurt. We didn't even see it happen. We saw him walking. We were doing a fantasy hockey draft.
We saw him real early.
Yeah, we saw him walking in the locker room with his shoulder. I don't know if that
is
played
the kid from Ohio State.
Yeah, the running back.
Like second play of the game.
It was yeah. We just saw him.
Good.
We were looking at fantasy hockey.
It didn't even
draft
look like much either.
right. So, and obviously Alabama was the only one that had a turnover. There was only one turnover in the game. But yeah, so it for as high as people were on Fields the week before against Clemson, he did not show anything to me against Alabama.
He definitely didn't play as well.
The only potential asterisk there is, do you believe he was healthy?
Right.
In that game,
because we saw him getting up one time in like second quarter, and he was
grabbing his hip or something.
He was like grabbing his hip, which
I
obviously
don't think he was all that healthy.
Yeah, and obviously grabbing his hip is not a good look for a quarterback.
Yeah.
So where do you think he goes in the draft?
Oh, somebody's going to take a risk on him.
Yeah,
but I don't like. I think I just said what? How about Philly at 6?
Jesus, then I have 3 quarterbacks and one they're paying.
Well, if you get rid of Wentz, I'm saying, and then throw a competition between Hurts and him.
I don't know how you get rid of Wentz other than just releasing him.
Because I think, I don't think they'll release Wentz because then they're still owed $107 million or whatever.
Yeah.
But if you can trade Wentz, throw a competition in between Hurts and Fields, and whatever one you say, hey, this isn't going to work out, they're still young enough, you can easily trade them.
Where's Atlanta on that draft order? Anybody know?
Where's what?
Atlanta. Aren't they like 5th or 6th?
They're 4th.
4th.
So, there's a lot going on here.
Oh, nice. I just hit the over on the Leafs game.
Do you believe Wentz will be traded? Do you believe somebody will take that contract?
I think they'll find somebody for him. I don't even have a clue who that would be, but I think they'll find a partner. Okay. It's not going to be. They're not going to get anything back, but obviously for Philly, it clears up $28 million a year.
Yeah. All right, we'll run through this because I think somebody's going to take a risk on Fields top 10. No doubt.
Yes,
because we've seen this trend in the last few years of teams taking risks on quarterback early and then like getting rid of them within a year or two. Somebody will take a risk on him early. Yeah, Jacksonville, they're taking Trevor Lawrence.
Yep.
The Jets, I believe, will probably roll with Darnold and do something else. So I don't think they take quarterback. The Dolphins aren't going to take quarterback. They're either going with Tua or we've heard the rumors of Deshaun Watson. The Falcons are kind of the wild card. They could take a.
I was just thinking. The reason I was thinking the Falcons was, do they bring him in? Matt Ryan's still got probably a year or 2 left. I'm assuming.
I think he's got more than. I think he's got 4 or 5.
Does he really?
Yeah.
I think he signed a relatively long-term deal recently.
So I mean, I don't know. Do you bring him in to learn behind Ryan?
Right.
But for that one, I don't know.
You got the Bengals at 5, not taking a quarterback. The Eagles, maybe. Detroit at 7.
Yes.
That's realistic.
That's very realistic.
Carolina's 8. That's very possible. Denver.
The Carolina's an interesting team, right? Because they just signed Bridgewater to a 5-year.
Yeah.
I forget how big that contract was.
Yeah.
The thing with
Fields is definitely going top 7.
Someone's going to take
whether it's Detroit, Philly, Atlanta. One of those teams is going to take a risk.
Who's like 8 through 12? I forget because someone may trade up.
Yeah, 8 through 12 is Carolina, Denver, Dallas, the Giants, and the 49ers.
Denver could trade up for sure for him.
You don't think they just don't want to roll Drew Lock?
I would, but I just don't think they're sold on him. And depending on who they bring in at GM, because obviously Elway.
They brought in a guy, didn't they? Did they hire him yet?
I don't know yet. Elway fired himself and promoted himself in the same day.
His last name's Patton. George Patton, I think is his guy's name.
Oh, I did see his name. I didn't know if they. I didn't know if they actually fully hired him. Because I saw something now. Now you say that. Yes, they must have, because they said someone else is now the probably leading candidate in Detroit. So
I could definitely see him going to Detroit. After like reading that,
they're gonna have to trade up for him, which I don't know if Detroit would want to do that.
That's what I say. I think it's a huge if he's available at 7, Detroit would absolutely take him.
You would have to trade up. You got to look at a team that's got a decent team that they don't need to worry about draft picks. Because you're going to give up 2 or 3 draft picks, probably.
Yeah. Right.
to trade up.
Right.
Yeah.
I think the draft might be more fun this year than it was last year. And last year,
I
was
would
like,
say so. I think we also thought that going into last year's draft. And
I mean, last year it was like, I think for us, because we did the draft last year, we paid more attention to like college this year, maybe a little bit. I know I did a little bit.
I think we're probably analyzing it more than we're used to.
Yeah, because I remember last year we were like, all right, Joe Burrow, Chase Young, crickets. We're just here to hang out with everybody and tell you who got drafted. But I think you and I both have paid more attention to it this year after doing that.
Yeah. Do you agree Fields is the second best quarterback in the draft? Or a legitimate question. I'm not saying.
I guess I haven't. Well, I don't know, kid at BYU,
That
Wilson
kid's
is
pretty good.
Zach Wilson's pretty good, and he didn't play this year because of they didn't have a season. But the kid out of North Dakota State, Lance, I think his name is.
Yeah, that might be. I was just say I saw some ranking somewhere on social media the other day that had Wilson from BYU as 4. I couldn't remember who was 3rd.
Yeah, I think a lot of teams are high on Wilson, but yeah, that Lance kid, obviously he didn't play this year because North Dakota didn't have a season, but I think he'll be obviously a big key for Lance is going to be the combine. And I've seen a lot of reports of him going to New England at 15, but I think that's I don't think Fields is the number 2 quarterback in the draft, but he's probably going to be the second quarterback taken.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's a player that might have to fit into like a. He's got to fit into someone's scheme and how they do like whatever their packages or whatever.
Right, and we talk about this a lot, and we'll probably get into this later. I don't want to get too much into it, but same with Mac Jones.
They're saying second round or something like that for him.
Yeah, well, I've seen like mid or like early 20s for him.
Yeah,
but he's a guy that you don't. And like you just mentioned, I think one of you mentioned, you have to throw your receiver open in the NFL, and in college, not many guys do that.
No, because they're just open.
Mac Jones, Devontae Smith's open constantly. He's throwing wide open passes. Same with Fields. He's just throwing 5-yard routes.
Yep.
To stand on the left hash and throw all the way to the right sideline is something you need to work on, and I don't think he has it. Wilson, I think he might have it. He's got a good arm and he's mobile, but I don't know if Fields has that. He just looks odd throwing the ball.
Yeah, I mean we see it every year. Like there's great college players.
He reminds me of like Haskins or Cardell Jones.
Yeah, Haskins is a bust in my opinion.
Well, yeah, he's done. I don't think he'll ever get a job again.
Who was it? Haskins?
Yeah, Haskins.
Yeah, I agree. What's our time at?
57.
Okay. Yeah. The little bit I've seen of Fields, to me, he looks a similar type quarterback of Hurts, like a mobile.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't see Philly. I don't know. Maybe I haven't watched Hurts enough.
I mean, if they
I would
liked
think Hurts is good enough that why they could use that asset on something else.
Right, and
Fields.
and a lot of it depends on who they bring in. What kind of scheme are you running?
The quarterback's got to fit,
right? Because they could bring a scheme in and say, no, Wentz is my guy. So really that. And do they have a GM? I don't know. I can't. They don't have a GM. I don't think.
Where?
In Philly.
I'm not sure. He might have got fired too.
I just remember some games this year where Wentz had like wide receivers that were 10 yards away, wide open, and he's like hitting them in the shoe top. Like,
right.
To me, the guy just scheme or no scheme looks like he just can't throw a football.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did not have a good year for it being his first contract year.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to. You guys want to talk about Kyrie and Harden?
Sure.
We can go briefly on them.
So, to answer your question, all I've heard about Kyrie is he's just choosing not to play.
Okay.
Personal reasons.
Let's roll with that.
That's what I heard. The one you told me today actually was the first time I heard it.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the first time I heard it from you. And then I did find an article on that.
Did you? Okay. I didn't. I
He
just
made
heard,
some comments about that.
Okay.
And then decided not to play. And I don't want to get into that.
No, but I wouldn't either. But that's the first time I heard it was today from you.
Okay.
Because all I've heard is personal reasons. And I've been sitting in a recliner holding a baby watching ESPN, and they didn't bring it up either. So
Yeah. Probably because I don't want to touch it. Kyrie. So, for the listeners, Kyrie's going on, what, like 3 or 4 games now?
5. I
5
think today's
games.
5.
It's been a week.
So he's like a week into just he left the team, left the Brooklyn Nets, and just doesn't want to play for personal reasons. Okay. This guy's in the second year of a 4-year contract that's paying him average $34 million.
And he only played 20 games last year because of injury.
Yeah.
And he's forfeiting game checks right now, they said.
Yes.
And game checks are over $400,000 each.
Yeah. I think that's up in the air. I don't think he's forfeiting them yet, unless it's proven if he was at these parties without if he was breaking protocol.
If he broke protocol, then
he is.
He loses.
I don't think he is currently because the Nets have approved him being away.
And I know that the latest I saw tonight was they're making him stay away until at least Saturday.
Correct. He's missing Saturday's game as well.
How do we say this? So you don't sign a 4-year contract for $32 million per and just decide a year into it or 25 games into it because of his injury that, you know what, I just don't feel like playing anymore.
Yeah.
To me, this is beyond unprofessional. It's a slap in the face to your teammates. You've got, Durant signed there. We'll get into the trade in a minute. But Durant is there. You have guys that, I don't have examples, that have probably small guys that have made signings there because they want to play with Durant, Kyrie.
Right.
They have legitimate chance at winning a championship. And then this guy just decides to not show up to work. If I don't show up to work for a week with no explanation, I'm getting fired.
Right.
I mean, you can't just call your boss and say, I don't feel like coming in.
Right. Yeah. It's to me, this is extremely unprofessional. It's a slap in the face to all his other teammates, and I don't know what resolution you're coming to. I don't know what agreement he has with Nets leadership, but to me, this is a joke.
Yeah, and to what you were saying earlier, pictures came across on, I don't know what day, of him maskless at his
dad's birthday party or
his
something.
dad's or daughter or niece's, whatever, someone's birthday party.
Yeah.
And in the NBA rules protocols this year for COVID, you can't be maskless anywhere, and you can't be in an event over 15 people. And if you are breaking those, then if they find you guilty of breaking it, you forfeit your game checks.
Yep.
So that's what Russ was pointing to. I don't think he's not yet, but they're investigating right now because they don't know when the birthday party was. Was it before the season started? Whenever these pictures
they
came
don't know
up.
how recent the video is.
Yeah, so if that came up, then he's losing money. And like you said, $400,000 a game. I mean, he's up over $2 million already. So
yeah, I don't think, and ultimately, I don't think he gives a shit about the money. He's probably already made enough money in his career. But to me, it's just the principle of negotiating and signing a contract for that much money as a free agent, because he was with Boston. Mm-hmm. As a free agent to commit to the Nets, and then a year into it, I don't feel like playing.
And
if you're that unsure, just sign 1-year deals then.
Right. And I did see somebody tweet, I don't know if it was I think it was yesterday maybe, and I ended up looking up his stats, but they said really since he hit that game winner in the finals with LeBron in Cleveland, they said he hasn't really done anything, which you can argue both ways. He's had very good stats. Mm-hmm. But he's a superstar in the league, right? He's going to put up good numbers. It's not he's averaging like 27 a game or something. Yeah. So it's not like he's not putting up numbers, but he really hasn't. When he went to Boston, they were like, "Oh, he's going to lead this team." Yeah. He didn't. Yep. He's not a leader.
I was just say, even when he hit that shot in Cleveland, he wasn't the leader of Cleveland.
Right.
LeBron was.
Yeah.
And he's young. He's only like 28, which I think has the shock value. If he was 38, you'd understand, like, maybe he doesn't have it anymore. But I'll make it clear, like, if he was a free agent, if he had played last year and came into this year as a free agent and didn't sign and then decided, you know what, I just don't feel it anymore.
Yeah,
I don't walk away, then I have no problem with
Right.
that. It's the fact that you committed to this contract and then you're just not showing up.
So this, to me, the situation, to me, exploits the fact I don't think owners have enough protection. when it comes to these contracts.
I would agree with that.
Because we have guys, and I'll transition into Harden got traded today to the Nets and basically forced the hand of Houston, who's, was paying him. And like to your point with Harden, if you don't like where you're at, then don't sign the contract.
Yeah.
You should have thought about that. I don't know when he resigned. You'd have to look that up. But
at least I'm not a fan of Harden, but at least even through the situation, he still showed up and played in the games.
Right. Yeah, he did show up. So I think what the problem is Kyrie is one of many in the NBA, in my opinion, that they feel they like to get to a certain like superstar level. They become extremely entitled, and it's kind of,
yes,
to me, it hurts the brand of the NBA basketball.
I agree with that.
And I think if the owners could, they'd come out and they'd probably say that a little more vocal about it. I don't think owners have enough protection. Yep. In my opinion, with what Kyrie's doing right now is absolute utter bullshit, disrespectful to his teammates. And if it was me and I had and I was an owner and had the opportunity or the ability, I'd say, hey, you know what, buddy, take a fucking hike. And you know what? Your salary this year, I'm going to divvy up between the guys who are showing up every day and want to play.
So that's why I don't know what he might be guaranteed that money if it's not for COVID protocols.
But that's my point is, but there's too much protection for the players and not the owners.
To me, you should only be guaranteed that money if you show up to work.
Agreed.
That's
Yeah, I don't know what the players union.
The best thing that could happen, and it will never happen, is for them to be like, get out of here, pal, and take his salary. And everybody's getting a raise. You know what, Durant, maybe. You're already making enough money, but those guys who show up and would give their left nut to make Kyrie money and bust their ass every day, and then this guy just doesn't show up, and you got guys sitting on the bench showing up every day, abiding by league protocols, making league minimum, like that's a huge slap in the face.
Imagine if the role was reversed. I don't know how often these guys get paid, if it's like weekly, bi-weekly, per game, but let's say it's weekly. And they had a week that they played 3 games, and then the owner the next week just decided, hey, you know what? I don't feel like paying you now.
Right. That's
kind of the equivalent of the flip-flop of the situation. Can you imagine the uproar that would be?
There's too much protection for the players and something in the NBA right now.
Yeah, which I understand. Obviously, they're going to say, right, they're bringing the entertainment value to everything and whatever that is. And that's every league, right?
Yeah.
They all have that leverage to say, well, we're the ones bringing entertainment. But yeah, if you're not playing, you're
not bringing any entertainment.
You're not bringing any entertainment.
Yeah, exactly.
If you don't step on the court,
it's an asshole move, and I wish the owners had more leverage to do something about it.
Yeah, and they don't because of how whatever negotiations have gone down with the players' union. So
the Warriors were on last night, and it was the first time Klay Thompson was able to be in the arena to watch the game. This is a guy that blew out his ACL, couldn't play last year, and then blew his Achilles and can't play this year.
Before camp.
He looked borderline depressed sitting on the bench, and he's probably looking at this situation of Kyrie.
I'd love to be playing.
You're healthy. I'd literally give anything to be on that court right now, and to me, it's a slap in the face to guys like that.
It is. And I just wish the owners had more leverage or more ability to handle it differently.
Yeah. And I think that, obviously we're not going to talk about it. I think it's more the situation Russ saw because everyone on the team, they've obviously asked about it, and they said, we'll let Kyrie make his comments when he's ready.
So if we stay on the sport but shift gears a little bit, so you mentioned Harden.
Yep.
So this is all according to Bleacher Report. This trade ended up being bigger than I think we all anticipated.
4 teams.
So the Nets get James Harden and a second-round pick from Cleveland. Cleveland ends up with Jared Allen and Taurean Prince. The Pacers end up with Karis LeVert and a second-round pick from Houston. And then the Rockets end up with Victor Oladipo, Dante Exum, Rodions Kurucs, 4 first-round picks, combination of Brooklyn and Milwaukee. I don't know who owned the Milwaukee pick. And then 4 first-round pick swaps with Brooklyn.
Yes. And none of them are protected because sometimes those are protected by, like, if I have a top 10 pick or whatever.
Right.
But none of them are protected. I saw somebody tweet, actually, I don't know, it might have been Rich Eisen, I don't know who it was, but he goes, LeBron's son's going to be in the Hall of Fame before the Nets have a first-round pick.
What's the Nets record right now?
They're under 500.
Yeah, it's not great, right?
Yeah. They might be getting to 500 if they're winning tonight.
So, to me, you said just got rid of Jared Allen?
Yeah.
That's a poor move.
That's
I
a huge.
100% agree with that.
That is a really poor move.
How mad are you if you're Jarrett Allen or Levert? You were big factors for that team, and now you had a chance to win an NBA championship, and now you're not.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jerry Allen was being a huge contributor to that team, especially last week with Kyrie out. And now you get rid of him to bring in Harden, who doesn't even play the same position.
Yep.
I gotta be honest with you. I think Harden falls in that category of Westbrook, and they played together. They are, in my opinion, they're forever gatekeepers so far in the league. They're not going to win championships. They care more about themselves. They're showing it personally right now, right? They're both throwing their ass. For Harden, it's a lot of ass. He got fat. So they're throwing their ass to get their way. That's how they play basketball. They want to get their shots, want to get their points, want to get their stats. So when it comes contract time, they, give me the money, give me the money. Then you have people like Kyrie, give me the money. I'm not going to play actually, but give me the money. And it's very frustrating because Harden's been to one finals in his career. And it was like his third year in the league.
Right.
And it's not like he's had poor rosters. And it's not like he had a poor roster where he was at in Houston. He had a great roster last year and he had a good one this year.
Yeah.
Like, if you can't win, pal, I saw his press conference yesterday. He's like, I just we're not good enough to win. He got up and walked out. It's like, maybe you're the problem. Maybe you need to start being more of a role player. How about, stand in a corner and spot up, we'll throw you the ball. Because it's whatever you're doing, you think you're doing to be successful, it's not working. You get to the playoffs, that's great. You're a gatekeeper, someone beats you, and they move on in the playoffs.
Yep.
Because it's not working.
I did tweet earlier. I don't know if you saw it.
The Houston Strippers?
Oh, no, that was good too. But no, I thought maybe they should get the three-piece band back together in Brooklyn.
Who's that?
Trade Kyrie and bring Westbrook back up.
Yeah.
Westbrook, Durant, and Harden.
Oh, jeez.
Not that it probably wouldn't work out because obviously Westbrook and Harden already played together recently, and obviously they weren't happy with each other.
Yeah.
But when they were younger, obviously those three were on the same team together.
But despite any issues he has with teammates, Westbrook will show up and play his ass off.
Oh yeah.
If I'm a Brooklyn fan, I'd rather see Westbrook on my team than Kyrie right now.
100%.
Absolutely. What was the Boogie Cousin comments? Because I didn't see that, and I saw your text.
So last night, Houston played on NBA TV last night on national TV.
Okay.
Afterwards, they asked Harden they asked him a question, I think, about the game, and he didn't answer anything about the game. He went on this short 4 or 5 sentence rant about how things in Houston are broken beyond repair. They asked him about they played the Lakers. So they asked him a question about why they couldn't stop the Lakers in certain situations. He goes, "We're just not good. They're better than us. Our team isn't good." And then he said, they didn't ask anything about the trade. And he goes, "Things are broken beyond repair here in Houston, and my mind's made up. They can't be repaired." And he got up and walked away. So then today they asked Boogie Cousins, who's playing center for Houston now, asked him about that interview, and he said, I don't have it in front of me, he basically said the disrespect our team feels started way before that interview.
Oh, had to have, yeah.
Yeah, but I think he's one of the first players to publicly say,
speak out.
like, hey, we're sick of this guy.
Yeah, clearly there's something going on. Is it something with the city of Houston? Because obviously Deshaun wants out too. So,
yeah,
I think Houston could, depending on who they bring in to handle the ball. I mean, they still got. Don't they have John Wall there?
They got John Wall. They've got
Wall and Cousins obviously back together.
Cousins had some injuries, but he's still a very good center, and they've got that young kid Christian Wood, who is
he's been playing well.
Proven to be very good. Like, I think
and they're just bringing Oladipo
in. I actually think
that could work out better for them.
If I'm a Houston fan, I'm actually very happy today that the Harden's gone. Trust me, I understand.
You got a ton of picks.
Yeah, and trust me, I understand Harden is an elite scorer in the league, but I think having him out of there and having this headache repaired,
right? Yeah,
and you get Oladipo out of it plus those picks. I'm happy.
Yeah, they haven't won because they don't play team basketball.
Yeah, correct.
Which you can say what you want, obviously, like LeBron and everything else, but when he's still he plays team basketball.
He does. Yes.
He passes the ball.
That's why
you get to a few guys that they just don't pass the ball.
That's why he and Davis work really well together.
LeBron has role players, which you need in the NBA, and he understands and those guys are willing to understand, like, this is my role.
Yeah, he knows who can shoot, when I can get her the ball, and he has no issue passing that. And we've seen him. People criticize him constantly, for not taking the last shot. Why did Kyrie take the shot in the finals? But if he knows, hey, if I can get this to someone else, even it happened in the finals this year, maybe the Western Conference Finals, he drove and kicked one out to Redick or I don't know, somebody was at the top of the key.
Yeah.
He ended up missing a shot, but everybody's like, why didn't LeBron shoot it? It's like, well, you got a guy that's wide open.
Yeah.
They're all NBA players.
Yep.
There's a better chance of him making that than LeBron trying to throw up some circus shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's something Harden will never understand is you need role players. And unfortunately, I think he is that.
And they tried to do
He's
it
a role
last year.
player.
They brought some guys in that they thought could try to do it. Obviously, with can't think of the guy's name, the power forward that's been there for years. Smaller guy.
In Houston?
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Tucker, PJ Tucker.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Like Tucker's one of those like role guys. I think he just wants to win.
I mean, you look at just the last couple of years. PJ Tucker, Trevor Ariza, a good role player. They had Clint Capella at center, and then you also throw in the fact that he's had Westbrook. He's had both Westbrook and Chris Paul.
You're right. Yeah.
And you still
He's
can't.
had great players.
Those are good teams.
Should win championships, right?
Yeah, you would think.
At least, I mean, they're not even. I don't even think he got no Western Conference Finals even. So
They've lost in the semis, I think, the last 3 or 4 years.
yeah.
So yeah, he's not even getting to the conference finals with that team.
Yep.
Bottom line is I don't want to see Harden succeed at all. I think he's an asshole, and I think Kyrie's an asshole.
Yeah, I make it's in case you guys didn't know, I'm not a LeBron fan,
No way.
but I would put Harden.
Did that come last night?
Yeah, I would put Harden above him on the list of guys I think they're absolute clowns in the NBA.
Harden called out number one on Russell's shit list.
I'd have to go back probably 10 or 12 episodes, but I'm pretty sure I've said that before too. I think the guy's a clown, and I don't know.
A lot of people think obviously a lot of stuff got given up for him, but there was rumor at I think this happened at like 4:00 the trade, at like 2:00 Philly was getting ready to put a trade together, including Ben Simmons.
Yep. And
So-
I've heard that a few times.
And the Heat were doing the same, something
Right.
with Tyler Harrow,
Yeah.
somebody else, and a bunch of draft picks.
I want to give up Harrell for Harden.
Yeah.
Just what? Harrell's a good role player.
But I think Butler's not as much of a superstar as obviously he's very good, but he's not like that superstar. I got to have the ball in my hands.
No, he knows when he needs the ball in his hand.
Yeah.
I think the Nets are. I do think Durant and Harden. I believe they've made some comments. They've remained friends and they've wanted a chance to play together again since the Oklahoma days. I think the Nets are just banking on Durant can. I don't want to say control, but keep Harden's
Reel him in a little
attitude,
bit.
keep his attitude in check. I think they're really banking on that.
Right, and they work well together because Durant doesn't bring the ball up the court.
Right.
So they
Yeah.
that's the only guy really that he's played with that doesn't bring the ball up the court.
So I think they've basically, and I also think Durant's contract is up after this year. He's not signed long term there.
Yeah, I don't think so.
So
I
I think
think him
they're-
and Kyrie were both 2-year deals.
Yeah. So I think.
Or no, Kyrie, because Kyrie was 4.
Yeah. So I think the Nets are banking on keeping them both happy and therefore being able to extend Durant. But to me, this is a move where if Harden can get back to his elite scoring shape and Kyrie shows up to work, that they basically just leverage their future to try to win 2 of the next 3 championships.
Yeah.
And it puts Houston in a good spot where they could still compete in the West, and long term they're set
Yeah,
up
they could
well.
still make the playoffs this year.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I think they might do better.
Yeah.
They just that puzzle might fit better now that Harden's not
the
forcing his
cancer's
way in.
out of the locker room, so
Yeah.
they're probably having a party down there right now.
How big was that contract?
Let's see, $164 million.
For
Durant for
How
4
many
years.
4 years.
got
4 years.
Yeah, and he can opt out in 2022.
yes.
That might
for
be
3.
the key.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's on his second year
Yeah,
because
it's
he
all
didn't
those,
play.
all
He's
those,
in his second year.
Yeah, all those max contracts are opt out after 3.
All right, you guys want to move on to hockey?
Yeah.
This
I
is
do.
your guys' show, but I do have a question for you guys about hockey.
I got an answer.
This happened last week. You guys talked about the U.S. Junior Nationals last week,
Yeah.
or the U.S. winning the juniors.
Yep.
Okay. What was the deal with the U.S. taking a picture with a trash can with the Canada logo on it?
So-
Everyone was in an uproar about. I didn't know about until Thursday.
It was not a trash can. It was represented an oil barrel. It was some philosophy. Have you heard this?
Yeah.
Some philosophy about, I don't know the connection between the hockey team and this philosophy. Being out basically like in the Sahara Desert, and they would place oil barrels they said 5 kilometers, so this clearly wasn't an American theory.
Right, yeah.
You place these barrels every 5 kilometers, and you focus on that, and you keep moving forward towards that so that you can always tell where the horizon is in the desert. And that's your goal. You meet that, and then you move on to the next one.
Okay.
So they labeled a barrel with every team they played, and they stayed focused on that.
Okay.
It just so happened that obviously they took the picture with the Canadian one.
It's a
Well, that was they beat him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a screwy analogy that I think is kind of stupid. But when they won the World Junior Championships, Taylor, the big hockey guy over here, they won that. They're taking the team photo afterwards, and they roll this oil barrel out with the Team Canada's logo on it, and it literally looks like they're taking a picture with a trash can. So they had some questions to answer after that.
Yeah, one podcast we listened to, they confirmed it that he talked to somebody and he got the story.
Yeah.
He actually wrote an article for Barstool about the whole thing.
Yeah.
I forget where it was, but yeah,
I saw that. I was like, I gotta ask the guys.
It's a weird motivational tactic.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if
that.
it had. I don't know who their coach was, but I don't know if he had. Obviously, a lot of those guys have coached overseas and stuff like that. So it could have been something he heard in
the Desert Hockey League.
Well, I'm just saying, even if he was in like Russia, like maybe it was a Russian.
Yeah. I agree with you, Taylor. I think it's a weird ass analogy.
Desert Hockey League.
It's a right.
If hockey in Arizona.
And in high school baseball, we had a coach. He always used to say, when we were getting ready to play, "How do you eat an elephant?
One bite at a time."
One bite at a time." Same thing, right?
So when we won a game, we take a picture with an elephant.
I wouldn't eat an elephant. Carry on with your hockey.
All right, so the NHL season starts tonight. It started this afternoon, actually. Well, this evening, 5:30. So we got a game going on over. I don't know if you texted me earlier for a couple of betting picks if I had some.
Yeah.
One of them was I like Tampa -1.5. This game was 3-0 the first. Last I looked.
What is the score?
It's still 3-0. Yeah.
Unfortunately, I didn't throw your picks in the podcast this morning because I recorded. I probably texted you too late, and then.
Yeah, fair enough. So season starts today. We went over the details last week, so I think we were going to do some predictions. So probably mainly Adam and I, because we're kind of the hockey guys here. We're going to predict the major awards. We got the 4 divisions. Each division is
Major award, like a leg lamp?
It's Italian.
Fragile.
never mind. I was texting you earlier. I actually had major in there as just a descriptive word, and I thought of the other situation you're talking about.
Okay.
We'll talk about that
right.
after. All right, so we also have the 4 divisions.
Major award.
Each division is putting 4 teams into the playoffs, so we're going to predict those 4 teams. Yep. I got a few upsets, I think. We'll end in the East because that's where Buffalo is.
Yeah, and we did try to. Russ tried to get some. 4-0 Tampa. My -1.5 is looking good. We did try to get in. Sorry, we did try to get in there.
Rocket.
I'm like 6 for. I'm like 6 for 6 on picks tonight. I'm flying. We tried to get an answer on if anyone knew.
Oh, yeah, I did.
You did get an answer?
No, I didn't.
Oh,
I
right.
tried.
Yeah, Russ tried to get an answer on.
Because
we didn't know who was playing, what divisions. Once the one team got out, and we didn't get an answer. So
my 20 followers didn't help me out, I guess.
I tried to retweet to my 200. It didn't work out.
Sphere of influence there.
So I have a cup winner over somebody. Who knows if that's even possible? But we're gonna figure it out.
Let's start in the North. So the North Division is the All-Canadian Division, which is going to be very interesting to watch.
This to me is the toughest division, top to bottom probably, that there is.
I disagree. I disagree with that.
Which one do you think?
I think the East is by far the hardest.
I could see that. One of those. It's Canadian. The North one's. I'll call it the Canadian division.
I would put North second.
Yeah, I think the North might be the most exciting one to watch because of who's in that.
I agree with that.
You got quite a few stars in that division with McDavid and Matthews and Marner and Draisaitl. So you got some guys in there. So
And when I did my picks, I think we talked about this last week, so you're only playing in your division. Right. So, like, tonight we're seeing Tampa against Chicago. They're going to have to play each other like 9 times.
Yeah.
So we mentioned last week, you don't get those games where you're playing the Western Conference if you're an Eastern team, and if you lose, it's not a huge deal. In this, every loss is much harder to overcome.
Yep.
So I think I factored that in quite a bit when I picked these. So in the North, I think Toronto is going to win the division.
Yep, they're my number 1.
Okay. The other 3 teams, I do have them in order, so I guess I really went with the predictions here. I've got Vancouver coming in second. My wild card in this, I think the young Ottawa Senators are going to surprise some teams, so I've got them in the playoffs. That leaves 2 big ones, Calgary and Edmonton, and I think Calgary's goaltending is stronger. That's going to push them into the playoffs. So I've got Connor McDavid and the Oilers not in the playoffs.
I'm with you on that. I've got at least number 1. I've got Calgary 2, Vancouver 3, and the Montreal Canadiens 4.
That's another good one.
I think Montreal might surprise some people. I think they're tied with Toronto 4-4 right now.
Montreal still
headed to a shootout.
What score of it?
4-4.
4-4.
I hit the over 6.5 on that.
Okay. I was going to say
Bing, bang, boom.
Bing, bang, boom.
Those $5 buy-ins are really paying out.
Rocket ship, or whatever he said.
I still don't know if those were words.
I mean, Montreal still has Carey Price, who some will argue is still the best goaltender in the world. And when you have that, you can steal some games you shouldn't win. So I don't think that's a bad pick. All right, let's go to the West.
This one's very top-heavy.
I was just going to say, the West and the Central, I think each have 3 clear teams.
Yeah.
And then a huge drop-off.
I hope we have the same 3 in the Central. In the West, I guarantee we have the same top 3.
Yes. In order, I've got Colorado, Vegas, and St. Louis.
I'm exactly the same.
Okay. And then Minnesota's got some exciting young forwards. I think they're going to put up some offense and sneak in.
They're my 4th team as well.
Oh, shit.
Well, this is going well.
Yeah, this is kind of boring. We're not arguing.
This was the only division that I didn't, after I made my original picks, I didn't switch any.
Our Eastern division will be way different than each other.
I don't know hockey at all, and I still would have picked the same top 3 in that division.
Yeah,
it seems pretty straightforward over there.
I debated on San Jose, but
yeah.
I don't know.
Side note, so San Jose, Evander Kane
Oh, yeah.
was...
Someone explain this back to me.
Evander Kane, who's a left winger.
You thought the salary cap was difficult?
Yeah. Evander Kane's been in some of these conversations with that clown Jake Paul about fighting because they're both like throwing their millions around.
No, we know why.
We know why.
Non-fighter fighting league.
Evander Kane has made, I believe it's like $54 or $55 million
Yeah, we looked it up
in his career.
During the hockey draft the other night.
He just filed for bankruptcy because he is $28 million in debt.
So he's like a John Daly.
And the rumor is that a vast majority of it is gambling debt in Vegas.
Yeah, I think Sean told us 8, or someone looked it up. You or Sean? Someone.
I didn't.
We were on a Zoom call with a couple of my buddies during the hockey draft. But yeah, one of us, someone looked it up, and he was $8 million in sports gambling debt.
Yeah, and I believe he owes another 8 or something to the IRS in back taxes.
Yeah.
This guy's put pictures on social media holding up stacks of hundreds as a phone, doing push-ups with money all over his back.
Was the caption "the last of my dollars"?
So this is a big side note, but you talk about poor money management. He's only 28, 29 years old.
Yeah.
Made $50 million, and he's $28 million in debt.
You know that sinking feeling when you lose like a couple $100 at the blackjack table? Can you imagine $8 million?
Yeah, my goodness. So
He's probably playing on like a credit line in Vegas.
Probably. Yeah, he's probably like, oh, I'm an NHL player. I'll just
ask for
I
a
got
marker.
you.
Yeah.
And now they're chasing him down.
The card kept getting declined, and they sent him a big old bill.
He's not going to be able to make it to the Vegas games, guys.
Yeah.
Can I carpool with someone?
Wait, before we move off the West, so I sent Taylor a clip earlier. So I don't know if so obviously we talked about last week the teams playing in Lake Tahoe.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
there was did you see this?
Yes, I did.
So there was an interview with Andre Burakovsky and Pierre-Edouard Bellemare. Mm-hmm. And they asked him something about Lake Tahoe, and so Pierre-Edouard Bellemare is from France. So Taylor's going to play the clip of during this interview.
Maybe. Come on now.
Play the Jeopardy
I'm
theme.
excited about it. I actually, I have never skated on a lake my entire life.
We're not skating on a lake, though.
Huh?
It's not on the lake.
It's not on a lake?
No, it's beside lake.
No!
Yeah.
I thought it was on Lake Tahoe.
We're playing on 18th fairway, bro.
No! I didn't even know.
You can take it.
For real? Oh!
Thought he was playing hockey on the lake.
And then like at the
That's
end,
pure
at the end
disappointment
he
right
goes,
there.
"Oh, you crushed my dreams." That's a great interview today.
I wanted to see it on a lake too.
I did see like a rendering of where they're putting
really?
I did
putting
too.
the rink. It literally looks like they plopped it down right in the middle of a golf course. It's interesting. So, the Central, which I also believe is top heavy. There's a little debate here, so I'll see.
I think our top two will probably be the same.
Okay. You go first this time.
Number one, I have Tampa.
Yeah.
I assume that's yours. My number two is Carolina.
Same here.
I think offensively they're good.
Yep.
This is where it gets interesting because I think there's three teams vying for 2 spots here.
3 teams vying for 2 spots.
Yes.
Okay, I would agree with that.
My 3, and I think this may be the surprise, maybe not to you. I don't know. The Blue Jackets at 3. I assume you probably have them out.
I have them squeaking in at 4.
Okay. And my 4, so I'm guessing I know who your 3 is then. My 4 is Nashville. I think Dallas misses. I think Sagan being out for a month or whatever. Hopefully it helps my hockey team when he comes, fantasy team when he comes back. But
And Dallas is already having COVID issues. Their first 3 or 4 games are canceled, so they're going to have a compressed schedule at some point.
17 guys.
So they originally were my number 2, and then obviously I thought about it again with all the COVID stuff, and I'm like, you know what, they're not. Yeah. And they obviously were in the finals, in the cup finals
NHL
last
had
year.
27 positive tests.
Yeah,
at camp, like throughout camp, not just like last week. And 17 of them were Dallas.
Maybe it's goddamn Texas, not Houston.
How many guys are on a roster on an NHL team?
28.
So this year is different. Roster. This year's different. They have a taxi squad that's traveling with the team.
As like a contingency if people test positive?
Yeah, so it's a little expanded this year. I think, it's like 28 or something this year.
Maybe the NBA should
and
do
then
that.
there's another, 6 or whatever on the taxi squad.
Usually I think the roster's only like 23 or 24 total.
I like that idea, though.
Well, they had to, right?
And I think they're traveling to certain games, and other games the taxi squad is not traveling. It's staying home to avoid the potential. So actually we're in agreement. I had Tampa and Carolina 1-2. I had Nashville and Columbus. So the same 2 teams. I had them flip-flop.
Okay.
Nashville 3rd. And I did note Dallas. The reason we're bringing that up is they were the runners-up in the Stanley Cup final last year. So I have them missing. I think last year in that cup run, I kept viewing them as like a fluke, and they weren't going to move on every round. I'm like, they can't win this round. They kept going to the cup final.
Yeah, and the other 2 teams in that division that we haven't mentioned is Detroit and Chicago, and they maybe not, but they might be the worst 2 teams in the league. Point-wise, because I think Detroit is definitely a very weak team.
Yes.
Probably a bottom 2 or 3 team in the league.
Yes.
I think Chicago is going to have a tough time because of the teams they have to play, and I don't think they're going to match up well against them.
I would agree with that. I actually noted who I think is the worst team in the league. We haven't got there yet.
All right.
Chicago's been a dynasty for the last decade, and I have them struggling big time this year. We mentioned Jonathan Taves has that undiagnosed illness they haven't come up with.
Yep.
He's their captain, their number 1 center. He's not there. And Kirby Doc, who is their best young prospect, he was a rookie last year, played very well. He was the captain for Canada in the World Juniors. He's still only 19 or 20, and he broke his wrist in the pre-games of World Juniors, so he didn't even get to play in that. And I believe he's basically out for the season.
Yeah.
Having those 2 out will hurt them substantially. And early last year, Robin Leonard was their starting goalie. He was traded to Vegas. He's now one of the best goalies in the world in Vegas, and they basically have 3 backups that are trying to play.
Malcolm
Subban's playing.
Malcolm Subban's playing tonight. So
that is, I don't want Malcolm Subban as my number 1 goalie.
Nah, that's PK's brother for anyone
I kind of
wants
figured.
to know.
I put a couple things together there and figured it out.
Moving on. All right, the East, which I believe is the strongest division in hockey this year, which is unfortunately where Buffalo is, so they got to navigate that. A team that hasn't been talked about enough, we saw them spank the Penguins tonight. I have Philly winning the division. I think they are an underrated powerhouse this year.
I'm with you.
Okay, so I have them winning the division. I'll save my surprises afterwards. I have Washington finishing third in the division.
So do I.
Right. This is anticlimactic. So. Pittsburgh, who's been another powerhouse over the last decade, I have them missing the playoffs.
I'm with you.
God
I'll
damn.
start answering for Adam.
God
So do I.
Write down his answers before the test.
Yeah, I looked over.
I believe both New York teams, the Islanders and the Rangers, are going to squeak into the playoffs, which also puts the Boston Bruins.
I'm not with him.
Okay.
I don't agree.
All right. The Bruins and the Penguins have been two of the powerhouses in the East for the last decade, and I have them both missing. The Bruins lost Chara and Krug on defense and did not replace them. And
Pasta.
one of the elite scorers in the NHL, David Pastrnak, had hip surgery going back to like October or something. He's still not ready to go. You
Marchand.
can't replace him.
Yeah, and I don't know if Marchand's playing. He's coming back soon if he
Okay.
if he isn't playing yet.
So I've got them missing. I think the young New York Rangers, led by Panarin and the rookie Lafreniere, are going to sneak in.
I think they might. I think goaltending. Obviously, they got a stud in goal with Shesterkin, but
Okay.
you like that?
I was waiting for that pronunciation.
I think goaltending will hurt them. I have the Bruins at number 2 in that division.
Okay.
You know my number 4.
You're going with it, huh?
Oh yeah. They're sneaking in somehow.
You want to tell me?
Yeah.
Sabres.
Jack Eichel.
I
Jack Eichel number 4.
I predict they're going to win every year, and they don't. So I'm kind of going reverse psychology this year.
That's why I almost picked Baltimore in our pool, because I was like, oh, if I pick Baltimore and I win the pool. But if they lose that, the Bills win.
And the New Jersey Devils are a young team that struggled last year, and I believe they are the only weak team in this division, and therefore they're going to get the shit kicked out of them all season. Therefore, I think they are by far the worst team at the end of this season.
So I had originally I made it not so dramatic here. I had the Islanders and Rangers in and crossed them off, and then I put the Caps and Sabres in.
All right. I hope you're right, because I want the Sabres in.
What do you got? Stanley Cup.
So again, not knowing the matchups, I already put a little bit on them in the future bet. So I've got. I think this is the Avalanche year. I'm taking the Avalanche over Philadelphia in the Cup Finals.
I'm not joking with you guys.
You got the Sabres.
No, that's the exact same thing I have on my paper.
So do I.
We can run through this a little quicker. So we took the major awards. Yeah, exactly. Major awards. The Hart Trophy, League MVP, and I'll go Art Ross, which is also the leading scorer, points total, not goals. So I've got Nathan McKinnon taking both of those this year in Colorado.
I have McKinnon taking the Hart, and I have Jack Eichel taking the Art Ross.
I like that. Jack Eichel should have a monster year. He's going to be fun to watch.
Just think if they put Skinner on the first line instead of the fourth line. Jesus Christ.
Skinner, I don't even know her.
I'd rather have Hall there, like he is. The Rocket.
I'm saying put both on there.
Oh, okay. The Rocket Richard Trophy, which goes to the player with the most goals.
That's what I was telling you earlier.
That's what you. Yeah. Okay. Sure you were. The most goals on the season, I think Austin Matthews in Toronto will take that.
So do I.
All right. Norris Trophy, league's top defenseman. That was won by Roman Josi last year. Who do you have?
I have Seth Jones.
I got Victor Hedman.
All right.
He's the caveman. They interviewed a little bit ago. Keeping the theme, Tampa's still very strong. I got Vasilevsky winning the Vezina as the top goalie.
Kinda hot.
Who?
Kinda hot.
All right. That is Carter Hart for all you non-Bostonians. He's Philly's goalie. And then I think Alexis Lafreniere could have – I wish we had an 82-game season.
Yeah.
Because I think he could have one of the biggest rookie years we've seen in the last 20 or 30
Yeah, because
years.
of the offensive powerhouse that the Rangers should have.
Yeah, so I think he could – like I said, I wish it was 82 games. I think he could set some records as a rookie. So I got him winning the Calder for Rookie of the Year.
I have Toaster Strudel. Tim Stuzel from the Senators.
Oh, okay.
I knew it
God. Toaster Strudel.
There was no way the kid was born. They sold his name rights to Toaster Strudel.
Coco Chris's
I got
cousin.
Stuzel winning the Calder.
All right, gentlemen.
2 other quick NHL notes. There were like 5 teams that didn't have captains still. Vegas, they're in their like 4th year now. They've never had a captain. Mark Stone was named the first ever captain of Vegas today. And not too much of a surprise, the Detroit Red Wings named Dylan Larkin captain after not having a captain since
Boo.
I think Zetterberg left.
Yeah.
So haven't had a captain for like 5 years. Not a Red Wings fan there.
Not a Dylan Larkin fan, but
Okay. I actually don't blame you for that. I think he's overrated. That's that.
Hey, you want to move on to stars?
Yeah.
I think we've mentioned most of our stars.
I got one left.
I've got 2 left, surprisingly. Surprisingly, yeah.
I actually have 3.
You didn't have Lex Lumpkin?
No, I did not.
Disappointing.
My 3rd star is Luke Garza for Iowa. I think Luke Garza's having a great year. I've been very critical of Luke Garza. I think he's a great college basketball player, but he has some developing to do before he's successful in the NBA. He's a back-to-the-basket type of center, and that's not really style in the NBA. So, and have you ever seen him run?
Yeah.
It doesn't look very athletic, and I think
it looks like Taylor running.
I think he's successful in college because he's strong. But
You guys can't see, but Taylor's doing laps right now.
So my 3rd star is Luke Garza.
Like it. Do you still have the mullet under that hat?
Oh God, yes.
Okay, good. Have you seen Cameron Smith's mullet at the
Cameron Smith.
the golfer, Australian golfer?
He's got a good one going right now.
He's got a good one going. I think should be your inspiration.
Defending champion of the
Did an
Sony.
interview and he said, "I heard Taylor Willis had one. Fuck him, mine's better."
All right. He's not one of my stars,
I'm
but
surprised I've never heard of Cameron Smith. Is he someone that...
you should know Cam.
I mean,
You
he
should know
finished
Cam.
second at the Masters this year.
Yeah,
So
you should
I'm
know
sure
Cam.
I do if I'd see him. I don't know why
Look
that
him
name
up.
isn't...
He's got a cat lick
sparking.
mustache, and it's not good.
Yeah, cat lick.
Cadillac.
Last week, I gave Steph Curry a shout-out for 62 points because that's one hell of an achievement. And that night, Bradley Beal had 60 points against Philly last Wednesday. So, Bradley Beal, my 3rd star of the week.
My 3rd star is Harris English. I know Taylor wanted to touch on this a little bit. He did win the Century Tournament last week, which is full of previous winners. He did not win last year. They invited in, because of the COVID stuff,
Yep.
they invited anyone that was in the top 20 that hadn't already won. So that's how he got his invite.
Top 20 in the FedEx.
In the FedEx. So that's how he got his invite in. And he hit a hell of a shot. He was down 1, headed to 18. I texted you guys.
We got the prudent bait text.
Yeah, I flipped. I flipped it on because I had looked at ESPN just to see where they were sitting. He was down 1, headed to 18, which is a downhill par 5, and he put his second shot to about 8 feet. He did miss the putt.
Laser.
And made the birdie.
Yeah.
Went to extra holes, and
That's
I have a question about extra holes. I know Taylor probably saw it, but
that's an exciting 18th hole.
yeah, oh yeah,
I like that one.
I've never seen... I mean, when I think of that hole, I think of big sweeping drivers off the deck or things like that to go into the green. And you watch them hit these big 50-yard slingers that run down that slope and filter towards the hole.
right.
I've never seen such an aggressive just take it right over the cut and go for it.
Oh yeah,
the way
he
took.
went right at it, and
It was a now or never kind of shot anyway, so of course you're going to go for it. But I've never seen someone not shape it around the hazard, but
right,
going
and
straight at it.
Yeah, he knew he
And
only
it
had
held
to clear
pretty well, actually.
Yeah, he knew he just had to clear because obviously a 2-putt got him in the playoff. So, but yeah, he put it to like 8 feet. He just missed the putt too. He just didn't hit it hard enough.
I wanted
But-
the playoff.
Yeah, he wanted to play off over Neiman. So I want to ask you guys about, obviously we all golf. So as Harris English is teeing off 18, maybe coming down 18 still, they show Neiman, him and his girlfriend or wife, I don't know if he's married or not, are sitting at a picnic table with Sergio and his wife eating lunch. I mean, he could be 15 minutes from a playoff, and he had been done for about 45 minutes. And then all of a sudden, I think as soon as he saw English hit his shot in, he hurried up and ran to the practice screen to start putting. Like, I don't know if he was... Because so they started, obviously, Bones is on the broadcast. They were asking Bones, they're like, you don't want to be like, hey, get your ass up there and start hit some balls. You've been done for a while. But he's like, Bones is like, I would go over and kind of tell him, hey, let's start going to hit some balls. And I don't know. And he hit a good drive in the playoff, but then his second shot came up just short and it hit and kicked down the hill. And then he left the next one chipped short again. So I don't know what you guys' thought was going to the play. I would think you got to hit some balls, right?
Yeah. I was.
Were you trying to figure out where I was going with that?
So I was going to say, I love when you say I have a question for you guys, and then you tell a 5-minute story. I love when you do that. So I'm waiting, like, where's the question?
So would you guys, obviously, I would assume you guys would
I think
try to hit balls or putt or something.
Yeah,
I personal preference for sure.
Definitely personal preference.
I would say so. But I do think there's not a great way to fix it, especially if somebody comes from down the leaderboard.
Right.
Because
Neiman shot 9 under Sunday.
In a playoff in golf, there's always going to be the argument of somebody's going to have an advantage because one player often has been sitting for 45 minutes or an hour,
right,
and the other player gets to go 18th green 10 minutes later, the tee box. And unfortunately, there's not really a great way to fix that.
Also depends on logistics too. Like, where's the range in comparison to everything else?
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know what the logistics are.
Yeah, it's like he rushed over. He probably hit like 10, 15 putts. Yeah. Obviously, it didn't even matter, the putting. But
I think we've seen some instances where the range is nowhere near where the playoff would be, so they'll allow them to take like a bag of balls to, for example, say number 1 tee and hit them down the number 1 fairway. I have seen that before. But
yeah,
I've
personal
played
preference, I think.
A lot of my own personal best rounds of golf where I've played a morning round for a tournament and then gone and played in the afternoon with no practice in between, hours and hours off. And you go back out and you're dialed after hours of not playing. So
you should have done that this year with me.
Maybe you should have too.
I didn't say I played better.
Oh boy, this is awkward. Hey, do you remember when we said we were going to get boxing gloves and have them do a boxing match this summer? Just bringing that back up. Overall, I think I agree with why you're asking. But I think it is a personal preference for everyone.
Oh, on me. My next start is Josh Allen for 324 yards, 2 touchdowns, 75% completion percentage. It was like 74 and change, but
I like it.
Since he's dogged all the time for his completion percentage.
Yeah. I'll just give my first and second stars since we already mentioned one of them. Alabama won the title game. Second star, Najee Harris, 158 total yards and 3 touchdowns. And then Devontae Smith, 250 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns, basically in the first half because he got hurt. Those are, no matter what the argument about Ohio State's defense, for those two guys that put up, 360 some yards and 6 total touchdowns is impressive.
When Mac Jones had like 484 yards passing or something like that.
Something like
64.
Did you see that body on
5
him?
touchdowns.
Oh, I did with a cigar.
Yeah.
I mean, that's elite.
That was Taylor's probably not seen it. I'll show you after this. Hell of a body on the kid. Let me tell you.
It's his wallpaper.
Yeah.
Not surprised.
We already mentioned my second first, Devontae Smith 2, and Lex Lumpkin number 1. The more Nickelodeon. I thought they did a good job. Obviously, they were trying to get kids involved and excited about it.
That's why we watched it, or we didn't watch it, but you
Yeah,
did.
I'm not a huge fan of Romo, so Nickelodeon seemed like the better option.
All right.
I'm curious if they start expanding that out to other things. As I thought I saw somebody, they should throw one of these on Comedy Central and just have like Snoop Dogg and like
have Jeff Ross do it like a
just have a couple of
roasting
people.
the players.
Yeah, just have a couple of guys that just like don't give a shit and just let it all say whatever you want.
AMC just overdub a bunch of zombies walking around on them.
First start of the week, the Cleveland Browns defense. 4 interceptions. I think they had a couple other turnovers, whatever, but they were the difference in that game. And,
yeah, absolutely.
So that's my first star, Cleveland's defense.
Stars, duds.
Got any stars or duds there?
No stars for me, but I have a dud. It's kind of a collective dud. It's something that's been grinding my gears. Every year we see people that are bandwagon fans, but being from Western New York, in my experience, we haven't really had a lot of great teams. So you kind of see it going off in the distance, whether it's, oh, I'm a Seahawks fan all of a sudden. It's like, well, we're in New York and you've never posted anything before about it. But when the Bills start playing good, you start to notice all the people that have been posting negative stuff about Josh Allen and the Bills who are now all of a sudden all over social media, and they're bandwagon fans. You got to go through the grind of the 500 seasons if you're going to enjoy
or
this.
less.
Or I didn't want to go there, but let's be honest.
Yeah.
It happens. We're now in the season where we get to enjoy it, and you go to Facebook and you've got all these people amongst the Zinnias that act like they've always been fans. It's just something that grinds my gears.
Yeah.
So if you're one of those people, pick it and stick it. Find a team.
I think
Like kid from Detroit.
Yeah. I don't know, but I'm curious if it's less of a bandwagon type thing, or because I have heard a lot of people. Spittin' Chicklets was one. I don't know if it was this week. I listened to like 3 episodes today. But a lot of people, I think, are very excited and want to see the Bills win, just because of everything they've gone through. So I don't know if it's so much bandwagon. There's probably
If
a
you
lot
end
of
your post with a hashtag Bills Mafia,
I don't know. There's a lot of people doing it, but I think there's
That's his point.
I think there's a lot of people that just want to see them do well, and it brings a lot out in people. I have a friend who's a Giants fan, and he texted me or sent me the video of a kid jumping through the table on fire, and then he was on fire afterwards.
Yeah.
And he sent me the video, and I had already seen it, and then he said, God, I hope the Bills win the Super Bowl.
It could be the craziest parade, city burning down.
Josh said he was going to go
history.
through a table if he wins the
He
Super
did.
Bowl.
He said tables, plural.
Ooh.
Makes me want it even more.
All right, gentlemen. If nothing else, see you guys next week.